the Republic of South Vietnam through my eyes in 1967 and 1968, William Barnner, Fire Direction Control, Howitzer Battery, 2nd Squadron, 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. I'm dedicating my story to Lieutenant William Fortner and Captain Al Fulco, both who died as exposure to Agent Orange. Our weapon was a 155 millimeter self-propelled howitzer. For you Navy guys, that's 6 inches. The weapon could reach accurately 13 miles. If you live in the Keller, Texas area, from town center to Texas Motor Speedway is about 12 miles. Each round weighed 102 pounds, had a killing radius of 100 meters, and here is a photo of several of the guns firing right at sunset. Again, another photo of the guns firing near sunset. We modified the APC and we called it an armored cavalry assault vehicle. We put a heavy metal shield around the 50 caliber machine gun. We installed a M60 machine gun on both sides, and the trooper in the back had an M79 grenade launcher. Here's a photo of some of our 100 ACAVs going out to protect the infantry troops. Here's a photograph of some of our 20 M48 Patton tanks taking a break in the bush. We also had 3 that had flamethrowers on them. We called them Zippos. I call these loaches. I'm not certain what they are actually called, but we had 20 of them, observation helicopters. We had about 30 gunships. Here is one of our pilots, a fellow that I grew up with in Alabama. Here's our fire direction control team. We are the ones who heard the request for fire support and converted that to instructions for the guns, and we conveyed to the guns exactly what they needed to do and when they needed to do it. At this time, there were about 3,000 of us in the 11th. We were divided into 3 squadrons, plus some in headquarters, plus some in air cavalry, and then those assigned to us like medics, engineers. That took us to about 4,500. All of these guys are still alive, and I've been with all but one of them in the last few years. Here's a photo of our office dug in the dry season. Look at all the antennas. The VC and the NVA noticed that too, and they knew that's where they needed to fire. The 11th Cav was established in 1901. This patch for the 11th Cavalry, Armored Cavalry Regiment, was designed and first used in 1966. We're based out of Fort Irwin, California today. In September of 1966, 2,500 of us arrived at Vung Tau via ship, and we had over 400 armored vehicles on board these ships, and all of us moved to Swan Lock, set up our base camp, and the VC immediately started working on us. About that same time, a little bit before us, the 196th Light Infantry Brigade came in country, and they set up operation out this way. In early 1967, General Westmoreland and the staff became concerned about the area in the I Corps west of Chu Lai and they sent the 196 and the 2nd Squadron up there, and that's where I joined the 2nd Squadron, the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. Here are some excerpts from my diary, which is housed in our Library of Congress, and it shows that we were in combat for over 300 days. This is my first day responsible for fire direction control, and I'd like you to notice that gun 6 was not surveyed properly. It was off and it killed one of our own. Now my first day responsible for fire direction control, I worked 40 hours. On the 11th of September, we were supporting the 1st and the 14th Infantry, that being the 1st Infantry Division, Big Red 1, 14th Infantry, and the 3rd of the 82nd, that being the 82nd Airborne. On the 24th, we fired 393 rounds today. Most of our missions were against contact with Hellraiser 94. That's a general. I'm not certain which of those divisions he was with. They were the background noise of the 50s and the 60s drowned out radio, made it very difficult for us to understand what they needed, but we did. Our E troop, ACAV troop, returning last night from our north one hit a 500-pound bomb, killing one lieutenant and wounded 4 of ours. Our body count of the enemy was 5. On the 28th, we got them back with a body count of 34. In October the 6th, a brigadier general with the Americal Division came by today, and reason being is they replaced us so that we could go back down to the 3rd Corps and join our regiment. On the 7th, the wind hit 52 miles per hour with heavy rain. We fired 24/7 no matter what the weather was. We took into consideration what the weather was doing to our round. On the 15th of October, we loaded up and we took a boat ride down to the 3rd Corps and rejoined our regiment. In November of '67, on November the 6th, the 5th and 9th Division covered us with support, air support, artillery support, while we moved through to a very small clearing in the jungle to lay cover for them, that being that we set up those 155s and then we began to protect them in return. On November the 9th, a 9th Division Huey dropped in close to our perimeter. I believe that means it crashed. On the 13th, we cleared an area for the 9th to move in with their 105s. I believe that means that we blew up the jungle with our rounds and cleared out enough space for them to Chinook in their 105s and set up their fire support base. We fired on the 18th. 400 rounds ahead of them. On the 19th, we caught Chuhoi letters. Chuhoi letters means you give up or we kill you. December of 1967, on the 6th, one of our forward observer tracks took an RPG right through the driver's compartment, and our driver was killed. On the 10th, an ACAV flipped after hitting a mine. On the 11th, we've already lost 2 guys, 2 tanks, and 3 ACAVs. Chuck also sent a squad against us, the fire support base, and we got 1 for sure. We lost another trooper today when his ACAV hit a mine. 2 VC squads tried to get into our perimeter tonight, but we made it rough on them and killed 1. The way we did that was we, on those howitzers, we dropped the tubes 2 straight out. We loaded rounds that had darts in them, and it would shred whatever was out there. On the 27th of December, an ACAV and E troop turned over and our driver was killed. On January the 1st, I became 25 years old in the Republic of South Vietnam. On the 2nd, a 105 battery was overrun, and the direction we're going, and Then down here on the 5th, our location will be 1,000 meters from Cambodia. We hear that Charlie has 2 regiments and is trying to escape, and we're going to cut them off. On the 6th, we began at 6, firing at 6 in the morning. We stopped at midnight. It's a pretty long fire mission. We fired over 600 rounds. The troops are going out toward Cambodia again, and they're blocking these battalions from getting back into Cambodia. Jerry Wayne Wickham was killed that day. He was one of our troopers. While we were in Vietnam, the 11th Armored Cavalry had 25,000 of us were there over the 6-year period, and 3 of us received the Medal of Honor. On the 7th of January, the ARVNs, Army Republic of Vietnam, were taken out yesterday after they got hit and refused to fight. Some country to die for. We fired almost constantly all day, and with support for H Company, one of our tank companies. They had a ground attack. Our 2nd Squadron had a total body count that day of 33. On January the 8th, General Abrams was out with our squadron today. We had another direct fire because we had another ground assault. We killed 41 of them this time. On the 9th, a gunship got hit today and it came here to land. On the 11th, intelligence reported that we were likely to have a ground attack. So 2 of our troops came in and 2 of our tank platoons came in to cover us. They watched over us. They needed us. We needed them. The ACAVs and tanks were almost abreast. On the 16th, gun number 1, its powder caught on fire, and we had a very bad fire. On the 30th, Tet was violated. We were up near Cambodia. We broke everything down, loaded up. When we started convoying at night, we convoyed for 15.5 hours at night from nearly Cambodia all the way to Benoit. Along the way, we passed through 3 blockades, POW Camp VC, POW Camp, about 2,000 VC in it. About 200 VC were dead outside trying to get in to break them out. There were so many VC there, they would stack them up like firewood. We arrived in Benoit early in the morning. We started firing, and 4 months later, we had fired 32,000 rounds. Those 6 guns had fired 32,000 rounds. Here's a page in my diary where it talks about our coming in and getting in and what we did. It's really something. I hope you get a chance to look at that. During the Tet, over 5,800 VC and NVA were killed. We lost 200. We being the United States lost 230 troops. On the 17th, we had a heavy rocket attack. They hit an airfield and ammo storage area near Long Binh, and I saw 3 of those while I was there. It's really something to see all that ammunition go up. Tan Son Nhut was hit with over 130, 122 millimeter rockets. March of '68, our tank company we lost our CO in the tank explosion. On the 13th, Regimental Commander Colonel McFarland was visiting our 1st Squadron today and took 3 shots right in the chest. Not expected to live. He did die. On the 21st, just a few days later, our new Regimental Commander was in his helicopter today when it had a power failure and it fell and killed him. On March the 27th, a platoon of ACAVs and tanks knocked down trees and we followed. That's something to see. The tanks go out through the jungle and knock these huge trees down. And then the ACAVs go along and do the same thing. Then we get to come along and we set up our fire support base. In April, on April the 2nd, a bubble chopper of the colonel's was taken off and he got a sniper round about 1,200 meters out. And within minutes, there were 4 Huey gunships on site and 5 Cobras, and making their minigun attacks and runs. That's it's amazing. I refer here on the 4th of something about a hip shot. Hip shot is where we're moving from here to there. In convoy, we get a request for a fire mission. We compute it while we're rolling, and we convey that to the guns while they're rolling, and they fire. And that is absolutely an amazing thing. On April the 5th, we got news today that Martin Luther King was shot and killed. And on the 26th, Lieutenant Tillman got dusted off. On May 1968, we found out that Joe Peck had been killed, and I did a memorial for him the other day, a few years ago. And then about on the 5th, VC hit a village northwest, and we fired in support. And then 2:30, they hit another village to the southeast with a full ground assault. We fired some 400 rounds. Our tank company and 2 troops went down, and then found out the village was just overrun with VC. And 2 of our forward observers got shrapnel, and an old Hal battery guy in each company and 1 tank company got hit and killed. The Air Force came in and killed over 77 of them. We fired over 600 rounds, and our body count was unknown. Yeah, we killed hundreds of people. I don't even know how many people we killed. Benoit got hit with over 100 rockets in a ground attack, and 275 VC were killed. Down here, the battery fired 102 rounds in 12 minutes. We could fire 4 rounds a minute, but sustained fire we should only fire 2 because the tubes would get so hot that the powder would explode before we could close the breech. So 6 guns, 2 rounds a minute is 12. 12 and 12 is 144. So we're right at the sustained rate. That's pretty impressive. Thunder Horse, our gunships, came in and killed 9. Down here on the 28th of May, a heavy thunderstorm came in, and a bolt of lightning knocked the landline phone to the guns right out of my hand. June 68, we had a short round, and it hit F Troop, one of our ACAV troops. On the 5th, Senator Kennedy was shot and killed in California. On the 13th, big day, 13th, we were under heavy RPG and recoilless attack, and 14 were wounded. 3 of the 5 of us were hit and dusted off, along with 7 others. The hit came around 8:35 p.m., and we got a lot of support from the 1st Division in a spooky. We responded ourselves with over 130 rounds. Here it is in my diary, and I want to point out here that Yuri was hurt bad in the chest and the legs, and we thought he'd been killed or that he died later, but I was able to find him in 2015. He lives in Denver, and when we go to visit our family there, then I get a chance to visit with him. On the 14th, they were after me and my boys. The RPG started again about 2 in the morning, and Captain Haskett got hurt bad and was dusted off. Our tent was shot down, and my bunk was full of holes. I dug up the tail section of the 60, and it's outlined here in my diary. And right down here, I think is where I talk about digging it up. I dressed up for this photo op because I nearly got killed by these 2 mortars. Here's the one that missed me and got Captain Haskett. Here's one that missed me and did not explode. On the 16th, long-range reconnaissance patrol had a hard time. Let's see here. The VC are moving all around us. Our area, the tanks really put on a display. Went after them with spotlights and flaming 50s. The Zippo went out and lit them up. Again, we fired over 32,000 rounds, those 6 Howitzers, in 4 months. On the 24th of July, 2 gunners on the old man's track were killed, and 3 others were hurt real bad. I knew one of them fairly well. The track is a total loss. On the 25th, the 1st Division Forward Reserve went out on a mine sweep and stepped on a mine and was killed. We knew him. A 4-star general came by, so we knew when things were hot, we were getting ready to move. The tank company's having it rough. Out of the 17 tanks that we had, only 2 are running, and most of the rest are combat loss. On the 26th, I went to work at midnight. Let's see here. On the 27th, G Troop went down to a village, and the action got hot. Body count was 5. On the 28th, Colonel George Patton has been in control of the camp for almost a month now, and he's starting to show up, and things will change for sure. And I remember saying to myself, this man's going to get me killed. It's time to get out of here. And so I was able to come home a few weeks later. The tanker said that he would ride on the turret of the tank as they were approaching the enemy. I don't know. Those of you that were there, you know the song, Good Morning, Vietnam. Oh, me. Welcome home, brothers. God bless you. I love you. If you want to know a lot more about me and my time in Vietnam, about 1,000-page collection in our Library of Congress. You can see it here by just a simple search, or you can go a difficult search and get it there, or it's down in Austin. Here are the medals that I got. The one I like the most is the fact that there were 17 named campaigns from 61 through 73 while we were there, and I was there during 4 of them. The Republic of Vietnam was quite impressed with the 2nd Squadron, and they gave us a Gallantry Cross with a Palm Unit citation. Some say that's equivalent to a Silver Star. I don't know. Here are my disabilities. I'm 310% disabled. The things I put in orange are connected to Agent Orange. All right. God bless you. Thank you for listening up. I can email this to you if you want. Just let the folks know you want a copy of it, and I'll email it to you. And I'll see you when we get home in heaven. Love you, brother.